Hey guys, I'm Dan.
Tim.
I'm Vegard.
And this is the Board Game Rundown, again from our homes. We've done one other video like this where we're kind of more personal, not at the warehouse. I'll call it that, even though it's not a warehouse at all. Today, we're looking at Color My Kritters by Simplicatus Games, a new game from theirs on Tabletopia right now. It's a 1 to 6 player family weight deck building game about collecting critters and coloring them. And I just wanted to kind of check this out on Tabletopia. We were lucky enough to be invited to have this chance. So before we get into anything too fancy, I'm just going to show you how to get to a game on Tabletopia because that's where we're going to be doing it. So you'll see on my screen I have Tabletopia open. You can do this in a browser or on Steam. It is free. And I'm just going to search for Color My Kritters. Now, I'm already in a lobby for this, but who cares? So you see I type in Color My Kritters. It's right here. It's the only link because they're smart and they don't name their games what other people have done. And then right here, this Play Online button. I'll click that, and that will actually take me back to the lobby I'm currently in. So then you just invite your friends like I have us right here. And then we're actually ready to start the game. So I'm going to pull the game up, and then we're going to go into an interview portion where we talk to Vegard and learn more about the game because I've said everything I possibly can. So Tim, while the game's launching, go ahead and take over.
All right. So Vegard, how did you come to Color My Kritters? This is, yeah, I'll let you go.
Well, once upon a time. It goes back to Essen, the big board game festival in Germany a few years ago, I think 3 or 4 years ago, back in the old times before, as they would say, this post-apocalyptic novel we're currently in. And so I went there and I met a friend of mine, Norwegian board game designer Jørgen Brunborg-Næss, who's behind Color My Kritters. So we met there, and since then we've established it's a group of, I think, around 10 indie tabletop game publishers from Norway. He previously designed and funded this beauty on Kickstarter, Greenbox Games. I'm not going to talk about that right now, but it's out there. So anyway, that's how we met. Then he had an idea to make deck builders more accessible. I mean, there's tons of them, right? I have several. One of the ones I like is it's called subatomic. I happen to be a physicist by training. I also studied to become a teacher, so that's like my fallback if the, science and math teacher. So anyway, a board game about atomic particles. Great. This is from Genius Games. I'm sure you heard of them. Great. Really, I love their games. So anyway, so that's a deck builder. Then you have lots of others, but there isn't one for kids. So Jørgen, he had this idea that he would make one. Then one day he came across some really, really cute artwork. So he got hold of that, and those are the critters. So then I came aboard. So we're developing this now. We're going to launch it on Kickstarter quite soon. Randomly, that's why we're talking together about this. We have something interesting for you, and you're happy to talk to me. I'm very happy to be here.
Yes.
Yeah. So basically, it's a card game that appeals to families. It's cute artwork, we hope, and then it's a gateway deck builder. It's like my first deck builder. So most people have heard of Dominion, of course. So you, but this is pared down so much that I mean, it's really for kids. So. But still, we wanted to make it interesting for the parents as well. So so there are a couple of different modes of playing, and what we really like is that you actually can have different strategies, and we test played it a lot, of course, play tested it, and it's interesting because very often you don't actually know who's winning until you count the score at the end, and it's usually close. So we'll see afterwards. If I hope my words are
I'll get stomped. Don't worry.
Yeah. Anyway, Yeah. So short story.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
that's
It
great.
wasn't that short. Yeah.
yeah. This
Dan
is
and I
cool.
love deck builders.
Yeah, deck
We
builders is
love
probably
deck
my
builders.
second favorite game mechanic. So yeah, when I heard this was a deck builder, that got me excited. And obviously, anytime you can get a deck builder that does something others don't, or is on a different, like you said, like one that is meant to kind of bring the family together, you know, anytime you can get something like that, that's really cool. So
Yeah, I've got an 8-year-old, almost 9, that I'm always trying to get to play games. So game with like yours, I'm not even joking. I love the artwork, right? Aesthetically, it's really neat. I love the look of the critters and
Yeah.
everything. And I know, like, my daughter she would sit down at the table at the very least just to be able to play with the cards, right?
Sure.
And look at the cards and
I
do stuff with that.
I loved too. I felt like a genius when I looked at it and figured it out. Even though I get it, it might be super obvious, but I loved that. I was like, oh, it's like CMYK printers. Like the word color is cyan, and the word critters is black, and I was like, that's so clever. I love it.
Cyan, magenta, and yellow. Yeah, you caught that. Very good.
Yeah, no, I
I
loved
did not
it.
catch that. I did not catch that.
Yeah, yeah. I was talking to Catherine about it because I was showing her it when I launched it the other day to give it the basic overview to prepare slightly. I slightly prepare, you know.
Over-prepare.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, that's so cool. They're literally using CMYK to design the game, and that's why it's called Color My Critters. Like I literally had an epiphany. So, no, I was just saying. In the meantime, can you answer what gave the idea for the name Color My Critters and using CMYK and stuff? Like, how do you know how that all kind of came together?
I was actually going to, you said before we started that it was going to be like a conversation, and this was actually what I had on my mind now. So if you hadn't asked me, I would have tried to, get there.
Okay.
So because, modest as I am, that was my idea.
Love it.
Yeah, we Scandinavians, we're very, down to earth, modest people. So anyway, he had a great game, the designer, and so as the publisher developer, then I'm trying to just put some finishing touches on it and not really. I mean, anyway, details, but the name. To start with, I mean, these are critters without colors, right? So he had called them like colorless critters, and if you go on Board Game Geek, you'll find that name there as like the first name, and then it would be like CC, critters with a C, obviously. And then we were like, okay, can we find like because it's to make it like more catchy, because it kind of sound like a little depressing. Uncolored critters. I mean, it's a nice, of course, precise description, but it's not like So
Right.
So then we're like, okay, but how about if you color them, right? So okay, you have to color your critters. So CYC, color your critters, and then actually I started looking at his artwork because he had already added these splotches of color to the cards. So kind of like, but hey, what's that? And then if you just switch to a K in critters and you make color my critters, I mean color your critters is maybe kind of I don't know, more precise
Accurate
in
or
some
whatever,
ways,
sure.
but yeah. But anyway, I mean, if it's my critters, it's personal, right?
Yeah. It's all marketing, man. It's all marketing.
And it happens to make a perfect acronym.
Yeah, I
That's
love
right.
it.
That's right. I love hearing the evolution of like a title, or how I love hearing how games come together, but even the titles, right? Like, how did the title?
Names are like always the hardest part when you're trying to make something, because it has to be catchy. It has to encapsulate what they're doing. It has to be the first thing they think of when they think of it. Like, yeah, it's tough. And I also love learning about the names. So, okay, I think we're about ready to switch over to the game and go to some casual conversation here. So I'm going to maximize the game, get rid of these horrible cameras, get out of here. And how do we start? What are we doing?
It might be useful for again, for people who haven't used Tabletopia before, or if they have and they just want to figure out how the game works, there's an icon down in the left corner. So if you see that down, there's you have your in the bottom left corner, you have your player icon, and then there's the sound, and there's a help, like a question mark, and then there's like a small document icon.
Yep.
And if you click that, you'll get the PDF with the rules up on the screen.
Perfect.
Could you do that now, just quickly?
Absolutely.
Right. So as you see, you have the beautiful logo, which is actually designed by Jørgen. He is currently also the graphic designer of the game. So just to make sure, you have this on the screen now, right?
Yep.
So it's yeah. Okay. So I'm not going to read everything here, but as you see, there are some different cards. If you go down to the bottom of the rules, the first page, the setup. This is also a benefit of Tabletopia. This is all done for you when you start out. The thing that's not done for you, which is at the very bottom, is that you need to check out how many of the cards. There are something we call item cards. So there are magic wands, there are mixing bowls, and paintbrushes, and those are at those draw piles at the top of the central market. We'll get back to that. So now we're 3 players, right? It's Tim, Dan, and me. So what we need to do is to look at that where it says 3 players, and it says 7 mixing bowls and 4 paintbrushes. So we need to make sure that that's what we start with in order to balance the gameplay. So we'll remember that, and then we'll just go down a little more to the second page. If you're with me there, it says gameplay at the top left.
Yes, sir.
Yep, you're there. All right. So this is actually also based on play testing and parental experience, because it's always, all board games, they have this clever trick for how to select the first player. As any parent knows, usually there's a boss who decides. So we just wrote that, and not the youngest player starts, because maybe they don't want to start. So it's the youngest player chooses the starting player, because for instance, when I play with my son, he's like, yeah, I want to start, and then later on he's like, no, come on, that's not fair. I didn't know the last round is going to go so everybody has the same number of turns. I thought when I finish, then it's already done and I will win always. And I said, no, it's the first player starts, the last player goes last in the first round, they also go last in the last round, so they have the last move of the game. But I want to be the last one then. Okay, so let's do it next time.
Yeah.
Right.
That's why we have that, right? All right. So as in any deck builder, there are like 3 actions: just the draw phase, the buy phase, and then the discard phase. And as you see here, it's explained the different symbols and colors and icons on the cards. We can get back to that when we're playing.
Sure.
And then the last page, it shows the game and conditions and the scoring. So if you look at this graphic with the scoring, usually if you figure out how the scoring works, then you base your strategy on that. So when you see here, you have the cyan, magenta, yellow cards. And then you have the mixing bowls and the paintbrushes. So what you need to do is for each color that you want to get points for, you need to secure either a mixing bowl or a paintbrush or both. So in this example, you have a lot of magenta cards. So you decide during the game, you've been able to collect 2 brushes and 1 bowl. So you assign 1 brush and 1 bowl to your magenta color, and that means that you can multiply the number of cards in magenta by 2, because you have both the brush and the bowl. For the yellow, you have only a brush, so you multiply the number of cards by 1. And for cyan, poor cyan, we only have 3 cyan cards, so we decide to not allocate any cards to that, so it's 0. And then we have some really cool critters. That was pun not intended, actually. at the bottom there, as you see, we talked about already the name of the game, so it's Color MY Kritters, so it's like cyan, magenta, yellow. K is actually for black, so it could be for, the colorless, where you start out or whatever. Then these other critters for extra points, they're secondary colors. They're not the primary CMY. They're what you get when you mix either cyan and magenta, magenta and yellow, or cyan and magenta. Cyan and yellow, sorry. So then you actually end up with red, green, and blue, which are, of course, primary colors in light, but now we're talking about subtractive colors. Now I'm a little above the level of the game in color theory, but anyway, you have primary
it
colors.
sneaks it in there on you, though. That's the clever bit, right?
And also that's one of the reasons I think it's really cool to have the cyan, magenta, yellow, because most people, including me, are well familiar with the red, yellow, and blue of paint, because that's how you mix paint. And those are the primary colors, and then you mix those and you get, yellow and red is orange, and so on. You have green, you have purple. Everybody knows that, but so this is has a little different, angle of attack. So you learn. It's like the other type of primary colors which are used for print. And since we're in the board game business, we print our games, so we all work with, cyan, magenta, yellow all day long. Well, I'm not in the printing house, so not all day long, but so it's I think it's a nice like both theme and Easter egg for this. So and then you have the secondary colors, as I mentioned. So the pricing, I mean, when you buy these cards, obviously a yellow card, you have to pay yellow and so on. Then we have some wild cards, wild colors. If you look up in the right corner there, you'll see one of those that's been added to the magenta cards. So that's a wild color. And then you have these, as I mentioned, secondary colors. And secondary colors are made by mixing primary colors. So guess how you pay for those cards?
By
so
paying colors.
Good.
Yay!
That's like the there's like this kind of hidden stuff that you can discover when you play.
I have to ask before we get too much further, since we have a friend, actually a guy on the show, one of our hosts that joins us sometimes, is colorblind. So how do these colors work for people that are colorblind?
Thank you for asking. What we did for the primary colors is that we made the shape of these splotches different.
I noticed that.
So that's one of the things we did. And we're actually discussing right now, because as you'll see, it's easier to see when we actually play the game than looking at the rules. By the way, I don't know if you still have the rules up on the screen. I do, so that's why I'm referring to that image still of the scoring.
Yeah.
And at the bottom of those two, the red dinosaur-ish critter with which is worth 4 points, and the blue toad, which is worth 3 points. You'll see at the bottom there, it's very small, but we can see those cards later on in the game.
Sure,
so we're discussing how to work with those to make that more clear, those splotches there, because I think that's the only thing which is not quite clear. Then I wanted just to quickly go down to the bottom. There's a junior version of the rules. So for even younger kids, and for also for variation. That's where you don't use any of these balls or brushes or wands, and you simply have a set collection where you get one card of each color. So you get 5 points for each set of cyan, magenta, and yellow cards. But the deck building part is the same. You have the secondary color critters that give you extra points. It makes it easier when you don't have you don't have to think about how to collect and multiply and remember those things. Yeah. And then the last page is a solitaire version. The credits are at the bottom, and I think that's pretty much what I need to say now. I mean, people who would like to try the solitaire, what I can say about it is that you This is I mean, this game is so simple that you can't really have an automata or something you play against the game. So it's about you know, playing, and then you can try to improve your score for the next game. But we figured out what we hope is a quite interesting mechanic for how you, in a way, play against the game, because your balls and brushes that you need are slowly disappearing while you're playing. So so that's basically the idea of the solitaire.
All right. Well, why don't we get into a few rounds of this and show this game in action? I believe Dan was probably the youngest player, so he would get to choose who goes first.
That's true. I'm gonna say Tim goes first.
Okay, lucky me. I will try to manipulate this with my very slow computer. All right. See if I can.
Oh, so really quick, we need to take out the bowls and brushes.
Yes, I was going to mention that. As you see, there's a helpful table there on the left side. So if you mouse over the deck, you can see that, for instance, there are 12 currently 12 cards in the bowl deck. So we should have 7. So then I can simply just take out for right click, and you have a menu. Then you left click, and you just do like this. There, then they flip automatically. So this is a nicer, I think, selection of cards. So you see, you have some here. For instance, the magenta card here has 1 splotch, and the cost is 1, as you can see at the bottom. Then it has this small icon that says +1 on a card, so you can guess what that means.
Get another card.
Hey, very good.
Yay!
And then you have the ones that, bravo. Then you have the ones, the yellow and the cyan. They both have 2 splotches at the bottom, so that means that's the cost. The buying power happens to be the same, also 2 splotches, which is at the top left. And then the big blue guy, that's the secondary color, blue, and it's what you need to do there is you have to mix cyan and magenta to get blue. So and it says 5x, so it means you need a total of 5 splotches that have to be either magenta or blue in order to buy that card, and it gives you 5 points at the end of the game.
Quick question for a bit of a rules clarification. For the set collection at the end, it doesn't matter how many splotches on the card, right? Just the color of the card.
Correct.
Yeah.
This is exactly something that we're looking at, how to maybe redesign the second one so it's smaller.
Okay.
So it's easier to see that, you know, you're not supposed to count all the splotches. But I've tried to make that clear in the rules, that you count the number of cards.
Yeah.
At the end, which is also what I said. So then you see the bowls and the brushes. They're worth either they cost 3 or 5 splotches, and they have the same effect. Remember, each of them you put next to a color, and when you score, and it'll basically give each card in that color a value of 1 point. But as you see, there are more bowls and they're cheaper. So therein lies the, you know, little trick. And then there's the wands. We didn't really talk about the magic wands, but as any child knows, magic wands are great. So what you do with these is, first of all, you see you have to have 1 of each color to buy them. And when they turn up, first of all, they have the +1, so it means you can keep drawing cards. The second thing is that when you're then going to buy something, you can use a wand to transform 1 color into another. So that means that, let's say I have 3 cyan cards, or actually let's say, I mean, let's say I want to buy this number 5. If you look at the 4 cards in the display here in the Critter Market, you need 5 splotches to buy this point card for 5 points, right? If you look at the cards lying there, they actually do have 5 splotches total, but 2 of them are yellow, and you need 5 cyan or magenta total. So you have 3, You have 2 cyan, 1 magenta, so you have 3, but you need 2 more. Now, if you had a wand, you could then make those 2 yellow splotches into either cyan or magenta, which would give you 5 total, and then you could use those cards to buy this extra points.
Cool.
So that's like the thing with the wand, but it doesn't give you any points at the end of the game. So it's very useful during the game, but then at the end you need, critter cards or these extra point cards. Okay, so you have your 3 cards. You have 4 splotches, as you see. One of them has a wild card splotch, so that means a wild color, so you can choose be anything you want.
When you buy a card, does it instantly fill?
Yes, you can only buy 1 card each turn.
Oh, you can only buy 1 card. Okay.
So I buy that card.
Then you're basically done. So then you discard.
And then the that market refills right away.
Yeah, not automatically.
For the next player.
Yeah, that's what you meant. And yes, it automatically. You have to immediately fill each time. So yeah, and you drop it in your discard pile. It snaps in place. Then what you do is before you draw any more cards for your next round, you take all of your cards, the ones you used, the ones you didn't use, and you put them in the discard pile. So that wraps up your round. So now I'll go to my my setup here. So I'm the Raven. So I'll draw my cards, and I have 1 of each color, as you see. So that means that I can buy either this yellow one here, or the magenta one, or the wand. Those are the ones I can afford. And since I'm yellow and I like yellow, I'll buy the yellow one. And then I'll take 1 of these, and there's another one of those cards that you will get extra points for. In that case, 3. So it's cheaper and it gives you fewer points.
Yay!
So that makes it Dan. You're now the blue player. Goes around the table.
Wow, 1 of each. Okay, well, I will obviously buy this guy then. And then that has me draw another card. Is that what it does, or what does it do?
No, yeah. I mean, later on when you
play it, got it.
So right now, what you do is you discard the ones from your display or your tableau. I moved, refilled the critter market, and now there's a wild card there, wild critter, as we can call them as well. So that makes it Tim again.
Yeah, I'm just trying to draw my cards. If somebody wants to slap them down there for me, it might save time, seeing as I am struggling.
Gotcha.
There you go. So now your draw pile is empty. Right now, that's fine, but in the future, 1 of your cards might have this draw another card feature. That means you would have to shuffle your discard pile. That's one of the things that's actually faster in Tabletopia than in the real world, and you don't damage your cards. You don't need to sleeve in Tabletopia, it's great.
Right. No bent corners, no... Yeah. All right, Dan, do me a favor.
This guy?
You can't... Can you grab the 2 blue guy?
Yep.
That's the guy. Thanks.
All right, so now it's me. We need to refill the critter market. Okay, I see another yellow one. That's nice. Okay, so now I'll do a little trick I'll show you. I right-click the draw pile, and then there's a take icon, a hand, and I choose 3. And as you see now, I took 3 cards at once, and I dropped them here, and they're all ready. So instead of, that's 1 motion instead of 3. So there are some shortcuts here that can make the play faster once you know them. All right, so I have 4 splotches. 1 of them is wild. I think I like these wild.
That's a pretty good one.
Yeah, and of course, sometimes you'll have several wild cards, like we did right at the beginning. You'll have, I hope, kids deciding which one they prefer based on the the artwork and not just the color as well.
Sure.
All right, so now is your turn. I'm refilling there, and meanwhile I'll shuffle my.
Okay, one of each in a wild. Okay. One of each in a wild means I'm actually this is tough. Do I want the 3? So where does these guys kind of clog up your deck, huh?
That's the point.
Yeah,
They're good
okay.
at the end, but not at the beginning.
Okay, then in that case,
think Dominion, the victory point cards in Dominion.
I'll just take that guy.
Yep, these are basically those.
Yeah.
Because they're they have 3 VP or 5 VP, those two.
And I will say something blasphemous. This is more fun and prettier than Dominion.
Ooh.
I know.
I'll take that as a compliment.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, it's on you, Tim.
All right, Dan. I'm just gonna ask you to do it for me. It'll speed it up.
Oh, he learned the trick.
Other
Did you see how fast that went?
Yeah, it's so much better. So one of each. I guess I'll take that wild card.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That's one of each. And then I'm sorry, what triggers end game? I forgot.
There are 2 ways to do this. One is if you empty the entire draw pile.
Okay.
It's currently 53 cards left there. So that takes longer, obviously. With fewer players, you'll have more rounds than if you're 6 players. So the other trigger is when both the decks for bowls and brushes are empty. As you remember, at the beginning of the game, we removed some from those decks. So that has 2 purposes. One is that you need the scarcity to make it interesting, and it also makes the game end faster because it's easier to empty those 2. Wands are quite popular. We play with the same number of them, whoever many players there are. So yeah, they don't need to run out for the game to end, and if they do, it doesn't matter. So it's only about the balls and the brushes because they're important for scoring. All right, so blah blah, it's my turn. I have a wild card, so I'll take another wild card because my wild card can be magenta. And then I have a cyan, and I have you know what I forgot? I had a +1, so I should actually have drawn another card. That's a yellow one. I'll just do that for good sake. So it's now in my discard pile.
Okay, I get a +1 as well.
There you
go. I'm actually going to take a wand.
Design-wise, I really appreciate how each player sort of has their own deck. Like, Dan's all have the owls. I've got the turtles. You've got the raven. Like, I like that idea, right? And it looks like what kind of lizard is that up there?
I think it's like a chameleon.
A chameleon, yeah. And then maybe a hedgehog or a porcupine.
Yeah, actually, you know what I did? I had to look that up to figure out it's a hedgehog and it's not a porcupine.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, you want to appeal to the kids to love your game by allowing them to select their favorite critter to start with. So we have a selection of 6. And actually, one thing we're thinking about for the Kickstarter is that we'd also tell backers that they're allowed, if they would like to, it'll be a pledge level where they can submit kids' drawings of their favorite critter or monster or whatever, and then we'll have the artist draw that, and it can be in the game. Because a lot of games, they have this get your face in the game, but in this case, obviously that doesn't work. But it's for kids, they like drawing. So yeah, so we hope that could be a nice idea as well. And we actually already, if you go to the web page, we have some coloring sheets. So some of these
Perfect.
critters are there. You can download it and print, just a black and white. So for coloring, yeah.
Sure, and
So you can
links.
actually color your critters even before the
You can
the campaign.
really,
Yeah.
you can really color the critters. I like it. I
Yeah,
like it.
and links for that kind of stuff will be in the description.
But yeah, I definitely have to compliment you on the aesthetic of the game. Just that alone, a game, it can go a long way if a game is pleasant to look at, or interesting to look at
Thank
while
you.
you are while you're playing.
Thank you very much. Yeah, so now we have 3 of these.
Yeah, we're gonna have to start buying them, huh?
Yeah, we need to. So you see there can be worth 3, 4, or 5 points. Then there's one of those cheaper ones. So let's see here. What is possible is to I can buy one of those less expensive ones. I can also afford actually the
the
the one
3.
for 3 points. And if we ever get to that point, it looks like it could be possible soon. Is that in case you can't buy any of the cards, then what you do is you would take the 4 cards in the critter market, put under the deck, and then draw 4 new ones.
Okay, I was about to
You can
ask
only
if
do
that was a thing.
once, though. Yeah. So you can only do that once, because otherwise you'll just circle through the whole deck.
Yeah, just because you have a bad hand. Yeah.
Yeah, but that becomes more important at the end of the game when there's just a few cards left. But
The odds of getting a 1-cost card of a color that you do have, it seemed like they'd be pretty good, if you were able to refresh the market.
Yeah. I mean, to start with, that's exactly what happens. But that also means that through this procedure, at the end of the game, the most expensive cards will be left in the draw pile if nobody already bought them.
Sure.
Right. So I'll take this magenta one.
Well, I was gonna
What did
ask.
you ask?
I was going to ask if there was a time where if 3 or 4 of the cards were all those endgame scoring cards, if it cleared itself.
Right. So that was not the question I thought you would ask.
Sure.
Exactly why it's good to ask. What will you ask? Actually, I will tell you one thing. First of all, this has never happened before. It looks really cool, though.
That's the board game rundown's staple, right there.
Yeah, it's great. No, I mean, yeah, if you can buy one of them, then
yeah,
it's okay.
I
If
haven't
you
looked.
Can't, then they go out. Yeah. So, but it doesn't happen automatically.
Yeah, I can. Okay. So which one do I want? Probably the 5 since I can afford it.
You can. 5 is better than 4, right?
Yeah.
Better than 3.
I know math.
That's how it works. I have 4.
I'll fill it really quick.
I like this yellow. I'll take another yellow one if I can.
That's me.
Sorry, that is yours. That's the one.
Listen, this is Vegard's game.
Yeah.
And those are his cards. He's going to take them.
Yeah.
This game's way meaner than I thought.
Yeah,
It's just trying to give you the experience of playing with a younger child, right?
Yeah.
Well, these are now mine.
I haven't got a single wild yet.
You don't need any wild.
Yeah, I get it.
So you see, I only have 3 splotches here.
Yeah,
but
not the best.
That means that I can take, for instance, this guy, this 3-point card, because I have 1 magenta, 1 yellow, and then the wild color can be anything.
You think he's better than a magic wand right now, huh? Interesting tactic.
Well, I didn't think of that, actually.
And quit helping him.
I'm sitting at a slightly disadvantaged angle here.
Yeah, good point.
I have to admit that was not necessarily the best tactical choice.
Oh yeah, here we go. It's a freaking engine building. Okay. Oops, wrong button.
So what do I have?
You have 2 blue. Oh, and a draw 1. Hold on. You have 3 blue. That will get you this card only. So I'll take this one for you.
Okay. Sounds like a plan.
Yeah, that looks good.
This is tough. Oh, this is tough. I think I'm going to take the mixing bowl while I can.
Well, you certainly had enough cards.
Yeah.
This is, if you get too many of even the wild cards, because they also don't have the plus ones, so you don't get this, avalanche, or what do you call it, engine builder, I guess.
Sure.
You can keep drawing cards, so that's a reason to get the ones as well. All right, so it's Tim's turn now. It looks like he has a lot of blue, or cyan to be precise, but not enough to get.
Yeah.
I need to
rush.
refresh the market then and try to.
Yeah.
So here's this is the first time, so let me do that, because I'll show you a trick. You put all of those in a pile. Let me just double check here. Okay, I'll mark them like this. So now I have all of them. Then what I do, if I drop them on top of the deck now, which is now lighting up orange for me, it will go on the top. But I want, according to the rules, to put this at the bottom. I think what I need to do now is there's this question mark at the bottom left. If you can you show them, Dan?
Yep.
If you click on that one, you'll see you get all of the commands in Tabletopia. So there's
shift.
Yes. So you see here it says shift, drag and drop. Right. That's what I was looking for. So I'll close this again, and I will go and do that. All right. So I mark them. Then I simply shift, and they're now under, and I can draw new ones. So you can now see these are not the same ones, which means I succeeded.
Well done.
So how about the only card Tim can take?
Is it that draw on the end?
Yeah.
Perfect. That's the one I wanted.
It's the one that I want.
You are the one I want. Copyright.
All right, so now actually maybe I'll be smarter than I usually am, and I'll take a wand.
Nice, that's a good move.
Because I really want those wild cards. I'm a sucker for wild cards, but can't go wrong in life if you have a magic wand.
Speaking of. Yeah, I was just going to say I'm going to use my magic wand to turn one of the blues into a yellow so I can take a wild card. That's how that works, right?
My thinking was that it'll change all.
Oh.
So if you change it to yellow, you'll have just yellow and red, right? Sorry, magenta.
It changes all
fine.
blue to yellow, you're saying, is what the rule was?
Yeah, but I think there's a difference between can and will or must, right? So let's say that it can change all of them, but you can choose how many. So in that case, go ahead and take the wild card, and I'll make a note of this, because this is precisely the kind of stuff that turns up from time to time.
Sure.
And you need to figure out what's better. And I think you just proved that to somebody playing this game for the first time, the logical thing is you choose how many you want. But you can switch all of them if you want. That's the important thing, that it's not limited to changing just one card, one splotch.
Yeah, sure.
So you can do more if you want. So you guys really have your engines going. I still don't get more than 3 or 4 cards each round.
Okay, so this is how you say crap. So I'm probably just gonna take the wild.
Oh, they're not that bad. Come on, I like wilds.
Yeah, it's good.
It didn't look that bad. It's not as exciting as my hand.
Yeah, I don't. Hey, shut up.
Your hand is great.
I guess it looks like it's what 2. I could have a draw 1, but just pick the color that I want the draw 1 of.
Basically, yeah.
So I will take the
or
blue,
magic wand.
or the cyan.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll take the cyan. the cyan.
Which one?
To build.
Yeah, which one do you like
Yeah.
more?
The one on the left.
Got it.
Sure.
Like a cute sea creature or something?
I see what you did there. I see what you did there, Dan.
Yeah, good.
I see what you did there. So Vegard, do you guys know like what your price point is going to be for this on the Kickstarter? If you don't want to talk about it like officially, that's fine too. I just figured I'd ask.
Yeah, we're going to have 126 cards before any stretch goals, which is what we're playing with right now. Usually games I mean, it's a little more than a double deck, right? So usually those games are around $20. So we're going to be somewhere around there. Yeah, let me see here.
Man, brushes are hard to get.
Oh yeah. And that's okay. I took this one.
Ooh,
those
are good cards.
So there's not that many of them. So sometimes, let's see, 5 and 4. Yeah. So very often you run out of balls first, and then people finally can afford the brushes, and then they all can afford them, and suddenly it's empty, and suddenly the game just finished before you realized it.
Sure.
So that's a heads up warning. But yeah, this is also how it can go a bit faster than you know. Of course, there's just, the kids on one hand, they're kind of, oh look, that's nice, and so on. It can be kind of a bit slower because they like to look at the cards and so on. And then it's suddenly, oh no, I am bored now.
Sure.
So striking the balance, to find a game that you can finish, which is also with the deck builder, it's a little more, I don't know if I should say advanced, but more, it's a modern style board game or card game actually, compared to like Go Fish or one of those really easy ones. But that's why we made this junior version.
Do you want pink by chance? Just wondering.
Yeah, and Tim has all blues. That's perfect.
Yeah, I've got the blues, that's for sure.
Or science, actually.
Yeah, guys, hey, it's not called Buller My Kritters, okay?
Yeah, that's right.
No, this is also first time I've seen that you have all one color in the critter display, and you have the other one. But you have one wild card, so you won't have to.
He doesn't have to refresh the market. Yeah, he can. You still have to buy something, Dan.
It's not me, it's him.
Oh, I just want to give you a hard time.
Yeah, it's you, man.
I'm sorry.
No, you're good. I finished. Tim keeps having turns where he can only buy one card, so it's going really fast.
It makes it really easy.
Yeah. No, that's what I meant. That I took too much in that case.
Nah, man.
But anyway, see, this is why the ones are great, right? Because now I can change my yellow ones into some color. Then I have 2 wild cards, which means that actually I have 4 cards, and they can be any color I want. And I'd like that color to be magenta, and I will have a bowl.
Yep.
Why did you pick magenta? Oh, it's because everything's magenta.
So I'm going to finally do something awesome. Hey, Tim, you want to see this? That's a lot of blue you got there, man. That's really nice. So I'm going to use my magic wand and turn all my yellows to blue.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna take that brush. Yep. That felt good.
Did that feel good?
It felt pretty good.
And because it's now magenta for the next one?
Yes, it is.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, you're pretty. That's not too bad because I bought the magenta bowl previously, didn't I?
Mm-hmm.
Hint.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a cyan bowl. It looks like.
Do you want this by chance, or this by chance?
Just kind of, it's too bad for you that apparently somebody got this brush that was 5 cyan, because you actually have that now.
Oh yeah, no,
oh, well.
Dan enjoys torturing me, so
Mm.
it worked out. Worked out. Yeah, I guess I'm taking the bowl.
So I have 3 yellow and wild card. Unfortunately, this. Oh, that's the last bull.
That's the last bull.
I did not get enough bowls.
And then I'm going to fill this thing really quick. I'm going to use my magic wand to turn all my blue into magenta. And that lets me do that. I said blue, dang it. You guys got me to say blue. It's not blue.
You just have the blues,
Hey. You know, Tim, if you had a single wand in your deck, you could turn all those into magenta right now.
I know, and it's probably too late now. But I'll buy a wand. I can buy a wand, right?
Yeah. Oh, wait, no. You don't have any magenta.
No, I can't even buy a wand. See what you did to me?
Yeah, I know. Got your hopes up.
You did. Yeah, give me that.
Seemed like the best move.
That's like suggestive.
Yeah. Oh, what? There's a card in my hand. What are the odds?
I guess that's the one I want.
Yeah.
I really wish I knew what I had in my deck right now. Should I go yellow or
my son likes to say, "Can I check that?" And then I'm like, "No, that's not allowed." But it's a card game, so maybe or kids game, so you can probably say that kids are allowed to look in their discard pile.
Sure.
And, grown-ups are not. Something like that, because that's kind of a sensible house rule. I don't think we need to write that out, spell that out.
Yeah, I agree.
Right.
I went ahead and took the yellow.
Oh, I set a new record.
Ugh. One paintbrush left. Okay, Tim, with your 1 blue, would you like to perchance clear the board?
I'll take the paintbrush with that 1 blue.
Yeah, yeah. And skip your turn, Tim.
Wah wah.
Wah wah. Ooh, he's got a good turn over here.
Finally I got, this is a new record with 9 cards up. And all my yellows finally paid off because the last brush is yellow. So I have 4 yellow here, then I have 2 wild cards. So that's 6. Then I have a wand, so I can get actually 7 yellow if I want to. So that should be enough. And now the thing is that Tim started. So now this triggers the end of the game when I took the last brush. So then, according to the rules, you finish the round, which means that you, Dan, will make the last move of the game, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, and I will take 3 victory points.
There you go. All right, so now we're done with the game proper. So the next step is the scoring.
Unfortunately, though, if you pay attention to the bottom of the screen right now, Tim, you did start at negative 50 points. So.
Oh man, not again.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, didn't you catch that? Sorry. That's a special rule in the, because if your name is Tim, it's minus 50.
Man, that's a real bummer.
I'm definitely doing that when I make a game. I'm just saying.
I can bet you do.
I have to scroll all the way through this now because my stupid joke.
I love it. I love it. You suffer.
That was actually really close.
So what did you have, Dan? 41?
42.
42.
You had 38.
Yep. And then Vegard?
I'm just trying to
double check.
Figure out. Yeah, okay, you put your blue ones over the yellow one. Do you mind if I just move them?
Yeah, you're good. I just threw all the wilds on top of the blue.
I understood that, but if you put them in the on top of the...
Oh, I gotcha. Okay.
See what I'm doing?
Yeah, gotcha.
It just more...
Yeah, I actually did that to Tim's too. I just didn't do it to mine. I don't know.
Yeah, no, so you got the 3 balls and 2 brushes, and that's really great. So you definitely get lots of points for that. The 34. I'm not sure. You just yeah. What you did there is you added those up. Actually, what we meant to do. I'll just sorry, switch this. I'm sorry, I'm screwing up for you here, but let me just quickly do this like this and like this because
Oh, the bonus is the bowl and paintbrush.
no, we had like some extra rules where you could get extra bonuses.
Okay.
So that's like advanced rules, and those are so that's why these are like just points, but it's not clear because but I mean, why would you have points and then you have total? I mean, you could have like a subtotal, but I think yeah, in any case, this is just Tabletopia, and you can actually do whatever you want. The point is you get
Sure.
the number, right? So I'm just showing you here what yeah, I'm just, I mean, it doesn't matter, but that's at least the intention behind it, that there would be some bonus points. And as you see, these counters, they have, there's a certain selection of colors. They actually have cyan, magenta, and yellow. Actually, it's, I think, purple or something, it doesn't matter, or pink. But they have colors for all of the player colors. And for counters. So the total, the counter under the total, I tried to make that match the player color. So anyway, yeah. So you had 38 and 42. I didn't add up mine yet, but I have 0 points for cyan because I only had 2 balls. So 2 and 2, so that's 34, 50 points total.
50.
This is ridiculous.
I don't know how that happened. Actually, I do. If you look at my these points, the one that says points for these 4.
Yeah, you got so many of those guys.
Yeah. So this is actually something I learned from my son because he always crushes me in this game, and this is because he says it's his +1 strategy. He collects all the +1 cards, so it's good at this engine building. And then he just picks all of those big ones, you know, those extra points, VP cards or what you want to call them.
Sure.
I'm in love with the wild cards, but they don't have +1, so it doesn't help my engine building.
Yeah.
The reason I'm collecting them is because I'm thinking it doesn't matter which color I get at the end, but I can always add those to the color, like my best color, because usually the minimum you'd get is like 1 brush that you put for your first color, and that's why it's important to have the wild cards. And then you have 2 balls, so you'll have you know, 1 color with where you multiply by 2, 1 color you multiply by 1, and 1 color you have 0. So you try to minimize that color. But if I have a ball and a brush, every card in that color is worth 2, right? So if I'm collecting all of those wild cards that are worth 2 at the end of the scoring, all of the other cards are 3, 4, or 5. These VP cards, right? So obviously they're better.
Yeah.
And he figured that out. He's 10, and I just developed this game. You know, come on, what do I know?
Sure.
Right. That's awesome. That is awesome. Well, thank you for walking us through that. That is, I can't wait to. I know we're going to get our hands on a physical copy, and I really can't wait to be able to play that. Not only with my daughter,
with your
but
family,
some of our friends though too, right? Because I know Dan could take that over to a game night with his folks, and I feel like that would probably go over pretty well. You know, it's just like for adults, it would even just be sort of like here's just like this light, fun game we can play, you know, in between really, really heavy games, you know. But as a dad, right? For me, I'm always trying to find games that I can get my daughter to play with me, and eventually my son when he's old enough. So So
Yeah.
I'm always on the lookout for these kind of games.
Yeah, that was really fun. I was happy with how close it came too.
Right.
That felt
Right.
like a close game. Like, I mean, you know, sure you won by 8, but there's no like video proof of that or anything. So,
Not anymore.
but yeah, that was cool.
Oh,
You know, if one of you guys had taken one of those point cards instead of me,
Yeah, that would have been a swing. Yeah.
so yeah, I mean or if you know, if Tim had, for instance, had the money to buy one of the brushes earlier, the game would have ended earlier. So
Yeah.
no, I feel like there was pretty good balance. The design's is well thought out. Like we have come into some games sometimes where it's like, have you considered this or have you considered that? But I really feel like you guys have covered a lot of the bases.
thank you. There was the one thing that you that we looked at when you had, you know, when I mentioned a couple of times, actually it was 2 or 3 times, that I never saw this before.
Sure.
So,
Well, Dan's good at
I'll-
making life difficult.
Yeah.
So
That's what I do. So where can people find more information on the game? And do you have a tentative kind of area for the Kickstarter date? Not an exact date, but like a time frame.
Yeah, I do. First of all, I said they were random. Of course, that was a joke. So these are from my fellow Norwegian publisher. So just to give them a little shout out, this is a Viking game. This is a 2-player abstract. It's a space battle. And I mentioned this Green Box of Games. It's like you could call it a deck of cards for board games. So it has lots of components, and there's more than 100 games. So there's a society, online community that keeps developing games. They, for instance, they're, as you know, Germany's maybe the country with the most, or at least maybe not anymore with the States, but that's where the modern board games started, and they had the most designers, and they really have a lot of them. So there was actually in the organization for game designers in Germany, they actually organized a design contest for making new games for this Green Box of Games. So that's really cool. That's the previous game from Jørgen, the designer of MY Kritters. Then this is a game I really like. It's called Clustered. So that's one of the Kickstarters we were in before, which is published by Sculpin Games from Oregon. I actually talked to Scotty from, Scotty Hardwick is the guy behind Sculpin Games, and he's in Oregon. And I was really worried for him with all the fires earlier, but he said they didn't actually reach his corner, which happens to be the corner where I was at as well, because I was an exchange student in Portland many years ago in high school.
oh, very cool.
So that's where I destroyed my English, picked up this horrible American accent.
Your English is very good. It's probably
well, I mean,
better
we
than
learned
Dan's.
we learned
What
like
you mean?
British, English in Norway, and I thought it was funny. This is like you said about going out on a limb. Or on a tangent. Our crown prince is the same age as me. He spent 2 years at Berkeley in California, and he still speaks this impeccable, royal English. Well, I mean, it's his job, right? So
Right,
of course
right.
he has to. Me, on the other hand, I think it's easier to understand me as well. These British people are really, horrible to understand. Have you ever talked to Martin Poole or any of these guys? Anyway,
I've chatted with Martin Poole, but yeah, I've not spoken with him in person. But yeah.
No, actually, I haven't either. But I just know his how he's going to speak.
Oh,
Because I've talked to
because he's
others,
English.
Yeah.
Right.
He's a great guy. But especially now, I'm like, come on, I want to meet people at Essen and the whole thing. But the good thing is that, for instance, we put our game out on Tabletopia. We had other games. For instance, these 2 games are on Tabletopia as well. They're linked from the front page of MY Kritters. You can have a look at them. Nobody went to Tabletopia to play. Then suddenly something happened, and now everyone's virtually playing. It's really
Right.
strange, isn't it? So there's always a silver lining, even though, I mean, how can you even? It's not comparable at all, of course. But
Right.
I
Well,
mean,
no, but you're
there
right
are
though.
so many virtual technologies that have kind of been more become more popular. So yeah, so at least it's a way to make the game available and in front of a Kickstarter. I think that's really great. And so to the questions you asked, we're uh, uh, partly because of the need to get get more eyes on the game, which is what we're doing right now. We've been postponing the date, the planned date of the campaign. Right now, what we're hoping is to run it before Christmas. We would like to launch in about a month from the recording of this video. When you will publish it and when we will launch is maybe not so clear. So I'm not going to mention dates right now for
Sure.
this
Sure.
recording, but um, uh, I hope it will be, just November, December,
Sure.
the end of November-ish.
That's perfect.
So if if we see that we still don't have enough people that we don't feel comfortable launching, then maybe we'll push it. Probably then it's better to do it in January.
Yep.
But we're really making an effort now and trying to get more people to have a look at it. And as I mentioned, there's a price point. So it's a small family game, card game, so it's not going to be very expensive. It's also not very big and heavy. The other thing about Kickstarters is the shipping, and traditionally it's been very US centric. So we in Europe we always feel disenfranchised by horrendous shipping costs. But the fulfillment has changed, and we're based in Poland. We have a warehouse here, and so another thing is that we fulfilled some of these games as well for those Kickstarter projects. So that's also a relevant experience that we have. It's not just running the campaign, but the nitty-gritty of actually getting the games into the hands of people. So we shipped these out. I mean, we did the European fulfillment. This is a bigger game. This is a smaller game, so we have these experiences. We're also distributing games. So, for instance, this game, and the others from our Norwegian colleagues, we're distributing them here in Poland, and so I mean, I think that's also something that should help people pledge with confidence.
Right. Yeah.
When we get
It
that
always
far.
helps when you've got some successful projects under your belt, and you're like, people have already have these games. We've proven capable, and especially something like Color My Critters, where, like you said, it's smaller. The price point is, it's easy. It's relatively cheap and easy to produce. Versus a big game from Simon or something with like a ton of minis or chits, and things.
Random example, yes.
Yeah. And I guess talking about like the timing of your Kickstarter, right? Like you also don't want to launch whenever there's some big juggernaut that everybody's been waiting for, right? Because then you fall under you get you go unnoticed because everybody's already looking at this massive project everybody's been waiting for. It's like why they release certain movies in certain months, right? Because you'll get more eyes. You don't want to compete with the big blockbuster. You know what you are. You're an independent, and so you want to be able to go where the independent's going to have a chance to shine a little bit.
Yeah. Also, there's that since this is specifically a family and kid-oriented game, and with some educational value, means that the it's not necessarily, I think, a big overlap with Simon
Oh
backers.
yeah. You're in a
I mean, some of
different
those,
realm.
but of course, some of them will be parents, so it's useful for them to. Uh, some of them might be interested as well, but then I'm actually thinking that they might come to Kickstarter for that game, and when they're there, they might, have a look at games, and if we're lucky, we'll be like a game we love or something, and we'll be promoted. That's when we might get some extra backers through Kickstarter. But I think that our primary way to gain backers now is what we're doing right now to get, find. I'm trying to work with reviewers and to get previews for from those who are targeting families who are looking at, kids games or educational games and so on, and also people who are really good with playing with Tabletopia. And I have to say, not many people are able to. Unfortunately, I wish there were more, but a lot of people are really focused on getting the physical copy of the game and then they play and they film it. But for us, with a limited budget, to be able to play on Tabletopia and then mix it up with video like we're doing right now, it's really great. And I think that's also really important. So I wanted to thank you guys for really being able to do that. So I guess that's you, Tim, right? You're the technological guy, wasn't it? Dan always asks you for help, isn't it?
Hey,
Yeah, that's
we'll
what it is.
see.
That's
We'll see
what
if
it is.
everything actually worked, right? Here's hoping.
It's really tough being the brains and the beauty.
Uh-huh.
So,
Yeah, there you go.
but yeah, again, right? You shore up your weaknesses, right, with other people. You know where you're weak, and so you bring in people that will help you where you're no good. Dan and I also tend to hang out with people way smarter than us, which is why we have you here because we are not nearly as educated. So
Yeah, something.
no, go on, Dan.
I was
Sorry.
going to say something random that also excites me about this kind of game is, I guess really when you think about it, deck builders just tend to be like this anyway, but you don't like. We played Arctic Scavengers recently, right? That's a deck builder I like. You could play that game with a totally open hand, I guess. Like
Right.
a lot of deck builders you could, but you just don't usually. Like you have your hand you're holding. But the thing I was going to say was the fact that this place open like this is something that I can easily just get my wife to come in this room and we can play hot seat on this game and it doesn't matter, And I like when you can do that when it comes to digital stuff, when the hot seat option is viable, when it's very easy to do. Because a lot of games say play with hot seat, but there's so much hidden information. It's like, okay, I guess I'll turn away while you're playing. This really worked. That's cool.
Great.
I enjoyed this.
I've mentioned the hot seat to people actually. That it's kind of funny because I'm in a game group in Norway, shockingly, since I'm from there. But being in Poland, I can't really participate. So actually, because of the pandemic, now I can, because they moved, their meets online, and suddenly it doesn't matter where you are anymore.
Yep.
But it was a bit funny because we happened to play, guess what, Pandemic, and the way they did that, because I got them onto Tabletopia to play MY Kritters, but before that, we were playing Pandemic in the way that one of the members had the game on her, living room table, and she pointed the webcam at the table. We all said what we would do, and she made the moves on the board, and everybody was just watching through the camera.
Yeah.
It's a collaborative game, so it kind of lends itself to that. Obviously, you can't do that with hidden information, and yeah, you know what I mean. It's Pandemic has, everything is kind of laid out on the board. You have some cards that you're collecting, and they're open as well. So and definitely this game could work if somebody has a physical copy and you just have a webcam and you can just play over video. But
You could.
Sure.
I'm really happy it works well on tabletop.
The open-handedness of it though also helps with teaching children, right? Like
Of course.
hey, just lay your cards out, and like we'll just walk through them, boom, 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 and makes it lends itself to that very well, makes it very accessible, and there's enough things that you are going to try to combo that I think it keeps it from being too simple for kids won't age out of it super quickly, right? Like they can get in early because the math is easy, and then they can kind of stay around because you are they are going to, hopefully, you would think, have fun, discovering the combinations. Oh, if I do this, then I'm going to get this, and then this will let me continue to do this. So, and you're sneaking in, like teaching them math and about colors and even strategy, right? And
Yep.
cognitive thinking, you know what I mean, and problem solving and things like that. So
Sure, kids are gonna go to school being like, "What's RGB? I don't even know what that is." I don't live by that life.
yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, I'm excited. I think it's always fun when you get to see a game. Like for Dan and I, right? We get excited when we get to see games before they're out. Like that's a perk of kind of doing what we do. And it's even better when it's like
That's not
something
why
that
you do it at all, right?
no, no, not at all. And it's even more exciting when it's a game you like, so that's fun.
Oh, horrible.
Yeah, yeah. Ugh, this one's
Listen, we
gone.
do what we have to. Okay.
You're sacrificing yourself to humanity.
Yeah.
That's right.
Poor guys.
But yeah, this has been a really fun experience for Dan and myself as well. I'm gonna just speak for Dan, but I can tell he's having a good time because he wouldn't say he liked it if he didn't.
No, I mean he can't really. He's a very quiet guy. So yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, he barely
Thank you
talks.
for speaking up for him.
You could barely get him to shut up. But yeah, this is awesome. I really appreciate you reaching out because like I guess like we sometimes we reach out or we ask people, hey, if you're looking for reviewers, and sometimes because like you guys being independents, because we're small, sometimes people just don't even answer you, or are or they're not interested. But to also then kind of give us the opportunity to help promote, and say, hey, look, like this is a good thing. And then when everybody sees it and they like it, and they're like, see, hey, remember we told you that good game was coming out.
Yeah.
So I appreciate the opportunity, and it's always fun to just meet creators and talk to them and kind of learn about their process, and how what's their approach and things like that. So thank you for giving us some time tonight, and obviously I hope we can work together in future projects as well that you got. If you've got games that you want us to look at, even if you've already made them, we're happy to look at them.
Yeah, if you go on the front page here, you'll see there's a few links to other games on Tabletopia. You can also look at like other games published by Simplicatus Games that are on Tabletopia. So I'm obviously very happy to play with you again, to try some of those, or sometimes I even try to play something I'm not working on myself. I mean, I do have a shelf full of games, and sometimes I feel like, oh my God, it's so people say like you shouldn't mix business and pleasure, and in board games it sounds like it's perfect, right? That you can really work with games all the time, but sometimes you're like, you really would like to take out that big box and play, and then you're like, I don't know if I want to play another game today. Or actually, in my case, it's also very often my family says, no more games, please, please.
Yeah, I get that a lot.
Although, for instance, and actually what you mentioned, this game, just earlier today, actually my son came to me and he said, Dad, where's the the prototype deck of Call of My Kritters, because I want to play with Mommy. And I'm like,
yeah, awesome.
That's what I want to hear. So that was great. And I said, oh, but can we play with 3? Because I wanted to check some things for 3 players. And he's like, no,
I'm playing with Mom.
Because then I can win.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I don't let my kids win either. I still lose, but I at least try.
But, it's really... just a couple of years ago, I would still have to like lose on purpose sometimes if I had to, but I really tried to teach him that it's okay to lose and so on, and he doesn't accept that at all. But that's another thing. But now, like in this, he really found a better strategy. He's won almost every game we played. So it's only, and I applied his strategy today and it worked. So I think that really shows that I think this works with kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Proof is there.
and the other thing I wanted to mention again is that we, as part of the development. So I mean, what we played now is like the core game or the original version of it, which is still the main version of the main rules. But we made some tweaks, and one thing that we developed was the junior version, because as you mentioned that it's so you can take one thing at a time. So the junior version, it has the deck building mechanic, but you remove all of those cards at the the wands, the bows and brushes. So if you go on Tabletopia, you will see that there are two different setups. You don't need more than one setup. I mean, for instance, some games, they have a setup for 2, for 3, for 4, for 5, for 6 players. I mean, we're now 3 players. We simply don't use the other 3 setups for players, right? So, but if we wanted to play with 6, we could play 2 colors each. There's nothing stopping us from doing that, and it's just there if you want it. But in order to make it look simpler for kids, so we have the separate setup where those cards aren't there. So if you go for the junior setup, you'll see that it's the critter market with the draw pile. That's exactly the same. But those other 3, I mean, like the top half of that central market is not there. And then you simply collect the critters, and you want to collect triples. So like you make you make tricks of like 1 cyan, 1 magenta, and 1 yellow, and you collect those other extra point cards as usual. And if you do that first, I mean, that's probably, you can even play with younger kids. And then once they got the the deck building part, that's when you can then introduce the next level, which is those other cards. And when you've done that, like we did today, and as you said, that's like easy, and you can get it to that it's not too simple, so they can still grow with it. And also you can add a couple of more rules that we have, like advanced rules for that, which is kind of, I would say that's, I mean, when we bought these family games in the shop in 30 years ago and so on, before like Catan revolutionized the whole world, advanced rules, what's that?
Oh, sure,
there was one
sure.
set of rules, and I grew up like, Vegard, can't you just play by the rules? Why do you have to invent your own all the time? House ruling wasn't the concept.
Sure, sure.
But I think
That's awesome.
I think many of us in the board game community, we have similar childhood experiences. So
Sure.
yeah, so that's one thing. And then also we with the help of actually another Norwegian reviewer, we sent him a prototype deck really early. I mean, before we even printed these. And so he played it, and then he said, hey, you know what, this game really lends itself to solitaire mode. And we're like, well, that's a good idea. But we had 2 to 6 players, and having gone down the Kickstarter rabbit hole, I know that you're not supposed to have these tacked on solitaire versions, because people really hate it when you do that. But if there's something that works, and now we're not going to present it as an add-on or a stretch goal, it's just there from the beginning. A solitaire where you just have to kind of improve your score between games is not as good as, of course, if you have a proper engine for an AI or an automata. But you really need a bigger game, I think, in order for that to be possible at all.
Yeah.
So in this case, it's a card game, and if there's a way that you can, I mean, once your kid knows how to play this, and you can show them, you know what, if you like this game so much, you can actually play it on your own. You can play it yourself.
Mm-hmm.
No iPhone, no screen, no tablet, no mommy, what should I do? Well, that's a bonus too, isn't it?
Right. Yeah, very
So,
good.
Sure.
Very good.
I lined up all my selling points here.
Yeah. Well,
Nothing wrong with that.
I wanted to thank you again, Vegard, for joining and teaching us. We had a great time. This was awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah. So from the Board Game Rundown, I've been Dan.
I've been Tim.
And I'm Vegard, the guest.
Yeah, there we go. It's
You
all
got
good.
You got it.
And we'll see you next time.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for checking out the Board Game Rundown. If you like what you saw, like, comment, and subscribe to our channel. Share our videos on social media and spread the word. We publish new content weekly, including reviews, unboxing, and Let's Plays. And as always, thanks for watching.